Hey everybody, it's Mike with another message for today. Um, the message for today is really for people who either don't believe in Jesus and God or are having a hard time believing in them. Not so much for people who already do believe, but I just want to specifically talk to people who might be in a hard time in their life right now, might be going through some struggles. Um, this the way the world is today is tough on a lot of people, especially with inflation and how everything costs so much more today, and you can't really do much. You go out to restaurants and they're only half full. There's never a wait anymore. People can't afford to go out to eat. You go to the grocery store and you spend twice as much as you did last year on groceries. The gas stations, they're still expensive with the gas prices, even though they seem like they came down a little bit because the election's not that far away. Um, it's just things are out of control in terms of money, and I think that really stresses a lot of people out in a lot of different ways. Um, some people get anxiety. Some people, just have gotten to the point where they're past the anxiety and they're past the frustration and they're even past the anger, and now they're at depression. And they're just feeling like this is never going to end, and um, their problems are never going to go away. They're never going to be able to live the life they want to live. Never going to be able to, you know, dream again and try to have their dreams come true. Maybe they're older, maybe they're in their 30s or their 40s or their 50s or their 60s, and they're thinking, what can I do, possibly do in my life to change things and get back on the right track? It's almost over. I don't have a lot of time left. It's almost too late for me. The good news is, I'll tell you, is that, it's never, ever too late to make a change. It's never too late to make a change with your lives. Um, and it starts with your mind and what you're thinking about. And are you thinking about good things? Or are you thinking about bad things? Are you thinking about all that negative self-talk, like you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you can't pull this off, all that little voice inside your head, that's the devil and all his little minions talking to you, saying you're not good enough, you can't do this, you can't do that. Because I'm telling you, you can do anything you want to do, and I'm living proof of it. I am. I did very well for myself early in my life, and in my early 30s and my mid 30s. I was churning and burning like the best of them, and making an absolute ton of money. And things kind of turned a different route for me. After I got past my mid to late 30s and kind of tailed off a little bit in another direction, and I went through some difficult times, and went through some dark times in my head. Went through some darkness and depression with myself, that I had to work through, and it's I saw a psychiatrist and they put me on some medications and things, and I just don't think that they really worked that well, with what needed to be done. And I feel like there was something else. Something else needed to happen. Something else needed to change. And at the time, I didn't believe in God myself. I didn't believe in Jesus. I knew He was there. I was raised Catholic, and I was raised, on going to church regularly on Christmas and Easter, 2 times a year. We would go, and that was it. I didn't really go to any kind of Bible readings or schools or anything like that, and didn't really have any exposure to the Bible at all. Um, Really, my whole life. So, but I just knew that, you know, something had to give, and God, I had to give him a chance, you know. And I just got to a point in my life where I was just willing to say, you know what, let's just swing for the fences. Like, this is it. Let's just go. Let's try to get in touch with God. Let's try to go all in. Let's just go all in. And that was my message last night, was go all in with God. That I was talking to him about when I was praying about, and actually texted that to myself. So that's what the message for this podcast was: is go all in with God. And that's what I did. I went all in with God. I mean, I put every single chip, every last chip I had on the poker table, I put it, and I literally put it right in the middle, and I said, I'm betting on God. I know He's real. I know He's gonna come help me. I know that He's gonna do what He needs to do to fix me, financially, spiritually, um, from all my anxieties, from my depression, from everything. I knew He was going to just fix me. That's what I asked Him to do, and that's what I begged Him to do. And I prayed to Him, and I said to Him, I said, I'm sorry for everything I've ever done, to hurt you, or to break your rules or break your commandments. Um, I need to get a better understanding of everything and how things work, but I know I have sinned in my life. I know that I've done things that were wrong. I know I've hurt people that I mostly did not intend to do, but some people did get hurt. And I just said I was sorry for everything that I'd ever done. And I asked him and I begged him to forgive me for that. And just said, please forgive me, for everything I've done. And I said, and I made him a deal, I said, I'll sweeten the pot for you. I'll tell you what, if you save me, and if you fix me and you heal me, and you increase my spirit from being spiritually dead to being spiritually awake and alive, if you do all this for me, then I'll do whatever you want me to do for you. And so I guess we had a deal, because the next day I woke up, I had all this energy that I had never had in 5 years. I had my energy was back, my motivation was back, my passion was back, my drive was back, my creativity was back, everything was back, and I was just like a well-oiled machine again, ready to go out there and slay the world and go make a ton of money again, and just go sell so much real estate. It was ridiculous. It literally just happened overnight. All those feelings and everything just came right back over me, and it came right back in here in my heart. And that's how I knew that He had saved me, and that He had put the Spirit in my heart, and he baptized me with the Holy Spirit, and that's what happened to me. He saved me, and I've been spiritually awakened, from being spiritually dead. And that process can be a little scary and intimidating, especially when all this happens at the same time. But because when you become spiritually alive and you become spiritually awake, and you ask Him to do that, you got to be ready that, you know, the devil really doesn't pay attention to you while you're doing your thing and you're sinning, and you got your anxiety and you got your depression and all that stuff. He doesn't really care about you, as long as you're not believing in God, as long as you're not talking to God, as long as you're not, trying to better yourself and listening to God and being closer to God. But the minute you start getting closer to God, the minute you start praying to God, the minute you start talking to God, walking with God, learning from God, all that, that's when the devil starts to mess with you, and he starts to come at you, and he starts to throw things at you, and really try to mess your life up. And that's when you need God the most. That's why it's so important that when you go with God, you go all in. You don't just like dip your foot in the water, you jump in the water. You jump in the whole river, the whole lake, and you immerse yourself in all of it, and just love it, cherish it, and just embrace it, and just get his love. Get his love to you, his unconditional love and spirit that he has. Once you get that love inside your heart, I mean, there is nothing that's going to stop you. And then you're going to start learning, and you're going to start, you're going to start looking at the Bible, and you're going to start reading the Bible a little bit. Maybe you join a Bible study, which is what I highly recommend, especially if you went from a non-believer to, now you do believe, and now you've been saved or whatever, spiritually awakened. You get to that level, you're going to need to get some learning in the Word, which is the Bible. So join a Bible study through your church. They call it small groups sometimes, and a lot of churches have multiple groups. You don't have to be just Catholic. You can be Christian. You can be, be whatever you want to be. You just go to church and find a group, and try to get in the Bible study and learn about the Bible of Jesus, and only the Bible of Jesus, no other Bibles. So. That in and of itself will help you start to learn that you have some special powers when you are connected to God, where you are basically protected from everything. You're protected from all evil. God will protect you from all evil. So no matter what the devil wants to throw at you, you'll know for a moral certainty. It says it right in the word that you are protected, that any weapon formed against you will not prosper. So they can build whatever weapons they want to build, and they can launch them at you, and it's not going to work. None of it's going to work. And it's because God's not going to let it work. Once he saves you, once you're his, he's protecting you, man. You're on his team. You're on God's team. And he's going to do everything he can to protect you and make sure that you are safe. And then what happens is, when you realize that you have no fear anymore and you have nothing to fear, which with the famous line, I believe Roosevelt said it, president, was, "We have nothing to fear but fear itself," is, you have nothing to fear. And when you take fear out of your life, guess what else you take out of your life? Anxiety, stress, worry, depression, and all those kind of symptoms that stress you out, freak you out, and get you all worked up. All that stuff is gone because you don't have any more fear. All that stuff comes from fear. You're scared of something, which is what causes the anxiety, or causes the worry, or causes the stress. You know, even something as simple as, like my issue with the finances, and the financial stress. That was one of my big ones that kind of catapulted me into the depression. Was, I was so just worried about the financial picture of my life, and I was just like forecasting into the future, like so far out into the future, because I was just such a type A planner and planning everything, and it just started to get depressing for me. And but now it's like I still am making, kind of the same money, to be honest with you, but I'm just not stressed anymore. I'm blessed, and God assures me that he's going to take care of me. So whenever I need the cash infusion, I'll get another client that just comes along, and I'll close the deal and make some money, and it'll be because God put them in my path and made them call me or whatever. Like that's just how it works. It's just how I believe it works. And he can do the same thing for you, if you got worries about that kind of stuff. And I don't know what type of business or whatever you're in, but God will bless you, and he will take care of you. There's something in the Sermon on the Mount. If you read that sermon in the Bible, I want to say it's Matthew. I'm starting to get better at this. Matthew, like chapter 5 through chapter 7. I don't know. I want to say it's something like that. I could be wrong, so you're just going to have to Google Sermon on the Mount, Jesus. and you can read it. But in there, he talks about, how, he provides for the birds who don't reap or sow or store anything in their barns for him, and he provides for them. He provides food and shelter, and well, they don't really need clothes, but you know what I'm saying. And he's saying, aren't you humans? Aren't you worth more to me than the birds are? So don't you think I would provide for you too, just like I would provide for them? And of course he would. Of course he does. So I mean, he says it right there. But there's so much stuff in the Bible that just reaffirms your belief with him. And then, of course, when you start taking your relationship with God to the next level, that's where it really starts to get amazing and fun. And you start to kind of, you know, get that choice to walk down that narrow path with the narrow gate. That's the one you want to go down. You don't want to go down that wide path with the wide gate. That's the path to destruction. The narrow path with the narrow gate is the one you want to go down. That's the one that not a lot of people make it down there. But it's tough. You got to go through a lot of different tests and trials and tribulations by God. He'll put things in front of you to see what you do and test you out to see how you react to different situations or different people or what you say. And it's all designed. You got to remember. God is the creator. Okay, so when you think of a creator and you think of an artist and you think of like a clay potter maker, you call them a sculptor, and they are constantly sculpting you and refining you and making you better, and trying something, to see if this would work or tweak this or tweak that or tweak this. And that's what God does during these trials and these tests. And it seems like sometimes, it's like, is God really with me? Why am I having to go through this part of my life where it seems tough? Well, that's where the growth happens, is from the adversity and the trial. You learn from that and you grow from that, and then God sees that, and then he twists your sculpture a little bit more to another degree until he gets you absolutely perfect. And then when that happens, that's when you get your blessings, and that's when you get your abundance, and that's when you get to be your finished product. And you're displayed for, God displays you to the world for the world to see you, so that you can be a beacon of light and hope for him here on earth, because he's not here. So he needs people who can show what he wants other people to do on earth, and be an example for everyone, just kind of like what Jesus did. Jesus went around and he taught people how God wanted people to live their lives, and how he wanted regular humans to appreciate things and talk to people and treat other people the same way, and look out for your neighbor, and do good to others, and all that kind of stuff. And that's all Jesus did, was go walk around trying to teach people the goodness of God. And people just didn't want to hear it. A lot of them just didn't want to hear it. And they would say, well, who are you? And you're nobody. And eventually, people wound up killing him. And it's amazing to me that that's all he was sent here to do by God. And look at what happened to him. So God still to this day uses people in different capacities to be able to work for him as a worker of God. Whether you're a missionary going to another country and trying to help spread the word of Jesus in different parts of the world where it's not there right now. Some people are called to do that. And some people are called to just do a regular thing through their regular lives, and whoever they run into, try to bring up Jesus and try to bring as many people to Jesus as they can. And me personally, that's where I feel like my call has been from God, is that I've been called to bring as many people back to Jesus as I possibly can and back to God as I possibly can, so that he can then help them grow and help get them baptized in the Holy Spirit and get them saved and get them back to his kingdom and on his side, so he can teach them what he wants them to do, because everybody's got a different calling in this life. But for me personally, I feel like it was try to get as many people back to Christ as I can, which is why I came up with the idea to start this podcast, which is how it all started from the beginning anyway with me. Was let's get this podcast started and let's try to reach as many possible people as we can through the internet and the powers of technology, and use technology, against the devil. Use his own tool against him, and for the betterment of God and for the betterment of the kingdom, and try to find and touch as many people as possible out there who listen to this, share it with their friends, comment on it, give it thumbs up, like it, and just be a better person and live your lives. The next step is trying to live your life like Jesus. And it's, people are like, well, I still like to go drink, or I still like to go do this. I'm getting ready to go to a conference at down Ocean City, Maryland, which is this like resort town where there's all kinds of bars and stuff, and all these different. The conference itself is during the day. You go to your classes, get your continuing education credits, and take your classes and stuff during the day, and then at night, that's when all the title companies and the mortgage companies and the real estate companies and everybody throw all these wild parties at the bars and have bands and shots and drinking and drugging and everything else, and goes on. And that's the thing. And so some people go down there and they say, well, I just like having a good time. I just want to do what I need to do while I'm down there. Well, I mean, you could do what you want to do, or you can sit there and you can say to yourself, like I would say to myself now where I am, is, what would Jesus do? Well, Jesus would go to the party, he'd talk to people and hang out and say hi, take pictures, whatever. But he's not going to be the one doing shots. He's not going to be the one drinking beers and pounding beers. Maybe he'll enjoy some music, and then call it a night. He's not going to be the last one there shutting it down either. So, that's how you want to be. Live your life. How would Jesus do it? And it's not that hard. You just sometimes you have to give up some of the worldly things that or the living in the flesh things, the sin things of this world. You just have to give it up, man. You just do. And that's what people have the hardest part with. And then they sin, and then they start to cycle all over again, and then they take that narrow path where they were already kind of walking down it, and now they get brought back to the gate and they have to start over again. you know so I'm just trying to help people and say, look, just be like Jesus all the time, 24/7. Treat your family the right way, treat your kids the right way, treat the people on the road the right way. That when you're driving on the road, and somebody cuts you off, there's no need to follow them and do 90 miles an hour and chase them up the beltway. No need to do that. Just let them go. Let them go and pray for them and say, I hope that they can calm down and relax so their blood pressure isn't through the roof and they have a heart attack while they're driving their car and kill somebody. So that's the goal. Is be able to forgive people for doing bad things to you and let it go. Just let it go. There's a lot of just evilness out there, and a lot of people want to react. There's a lot of people that want a reaction. So sometimes when they don't get the reaction, sometimes that is a response. No response is a response. And it's sometimes the best response you can give. That along with forgiveness. I'll pray for you. People want to get into it with me online when I post a comment about how the schools would be better off to have God and the Bible back in the schools, and people start arguing with me, well, that's church and state and it needs to be separate and all this stuff. And I say, well, maybe the laws need to be changed. Maybe it needs to be included in church and state, need to be merged back together with the Bible, because what we got right now ain't working. And then they go back and forth with me and finally try to cut me somewhere. And I just say, you know what? I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to pray for you that you wake up one day and realize what I'm trying to say is the right thing to do. And if you don't realize it, well, that's your problem, And I'll pray for you that you understand that, but you might not. And if you don't, that's fine. That's between you and God, and you'll have to answer to Him for judgment, not me. I'm not the one doing judgment. So, let God handle the problems. Let God handle the ignorant people that are out there in this world that are just doing whatever they want to do and screwing people over and doing the wrong thing. It catches up with them, man. Believe me. It catches up with them, and He will find it out because He knows it all anyway. God knows everything about everybody all the time and everything they've ever done. And eventually, it's time where God says, you know what? I think you've had enough freedom. I think it's time to reel you in and maybe teach you some discipline. He is a disciplinarian, so He can be. And I don't want to be on the side of that. I'll tell you that. I'd rather be on the good side. So, anyway, I think that's probably enough for today. It's a little more than what I wanted to talk about, but I think it turned out really good just by taking a different approach that I didn't take with the first video that I did. So I hope you all kind of took something from this video of knowing that you really need to go all in with God. Go all in, man. Don't stick your foot out there and touch the water and feel how warm it is or cold it is. Just jump in and just take the plunge and just let Him have everything, man. Let you surrender yourself to Him completely and fully, just like you're a car. And you give Him the keys and you say, drive me, take me anywhere you want. You want to drive me through the water? Great. You want to drive me through the snow? Great. You want to drive me through the mud? Great. You want to drive me through the sand? Great. I don't care. We'll go wherever you want to go. It's up to you. You show me the way. You show me the road we're going on. And just live your life and turn it all over to God and let Him handle it. And you will live a life, if you do that, you will live a life that is full of more peace than you can ever imagine to yourself. I mean, more peace than getting as high as you could get on marijuana, sitting there, closing your eyes and putting on your favorite song and just sitting back in your chair and putting that recliner up and just bopping your head to the beat and just being stoned out of your mind, right? This is like 10 times better than that. Only you're sober, you're not stoned, and you got the Holy Spirit inside you, and it's just giving you that rush of peace and just relaxation and calmness and just total bliss and just it's something you can't explain until you actually live it for yourself. It's heaven on earth. And like I said, why anybody wouldn't want to live their lives like that is beyond me. I don't know why anybody would choose to live a life full of stress and deadlines and accountability and all these problems. And accountability wasn't a good one, but all these problems and stresses and just things, because there is still accountability with God. But you can get rid of the problems and the stress and the depression and the anxiety and the worry and live a nice relaxing life. So anyway, if you liked what I had to say today, give me a thumbs up, like the video, comment some, share it with your friends, and God bless each and every one of you for taking the time to watch. And I'm glad I got my chain fixed, so I finally got that back. So thanks Amazon for that. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.